Hello and welcome to this EXP training video. We're on paper ACCA F1 and we're looking at chapter 9 of our Express Notes, which can be downloaded free of charge from our website. This chapter is all about recruitment, recruiting and developing effective employees. Why is it important? That's the first question. Why is effective recruitment and selection important? Well, couple of ideas here. It will enable organizations to employ individuals that will fit with the organization. If it helps to grow the business as well. If it isn't present, if you recruit and select the wrong people and get the wrong people on board, there could be problems. Problems in terms of motivation of existing staff, problems in terms of getting things done, as well as problems with the time and money spent on recruiting those individuals and also possibly recruiting their replacements. Quick definition: job description. What do we mean by job description? Well, a job description describes the job. It identifies the main purposes and responsibilities of that job. A person specification, on the other hand, identifies key attributes of the job holder. It specifies a person. Rogers' 7-point plan, also known by the bad pigs plan, is a good tool to use within person specification. The reason it's called the bad pigs plan is it spells out bad pigs: background, achievements, disposition, physical, interest, general intelligence and special aptitudes. So these are all different ways that we can look at an individual and identify about their background, their achievements, their disposition, what type of person they are, interest, physical, general intelligence, special aptitudes, and so on. What selection methods do we have? Well, application forms, CV, selection interviews, assessment centres. Various advantages and disadvantages of each of those. An application form. What's good about an application form? Well, an application form enables the employer to classify and clarify exactly what questions they want to ask, because they control the application form. An advantage of the CV: it enables the candidate, the potential employee, to say what they want in the CV and to stress certain things. Selection interviews gives an opportunity for face-to-face communication. And assessment centres are where people are invited along to assessment centres and undertake various testing. That could be IQ testing, that could be personality testing, it could also include selection interviews within those assessment centres. An important point within recruitment and selection is the concept of equal opportunities. Now, what this says is that organizations should not discriminate. Companies should not discriminate on the basis of age, sex, race, or religion. Everyone should be entitled to equal opportunities. To discriminate would be morally wrong. Not only would it be morally wrong, but it could also result in an organization missing out on good quality people. If the company decides not to have an equal opportunities policy and to discriminate against a certain segment of the population, they could miss out on the good quality people within that segment. Okay, moving on down this page. Techniques for improving personal effectiveness at work and their benefits. So we've got something called a personal development plan. So what is a personal development plan? It is, as the name suggests, a development plan for an individual. So it's an action plan for an individual that identifies any opportunities for his or her development in the future. So it involves analysing current position, setting targets, and identifying methods to achieve these targets. Using the classic mnemonic SMART, targets or objectives should be set on a SMART basis: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Page 42. We've got an example of the communication process. So this is a theory behind the communication process. How we go from the sender to the receiver to communicate. The sender has a thought which is encoded, then transmitted, and that transmission can be by voice, can be by email, written communication. It's then decoded by the receiver and understood by the receiver. Feedback is then transferred. Feedback is then given to the sender. And all along here we can have this term noise. So it could be physical noise, or it could be noise in the sense of jargon or something like that. Next we have different communication patterns. So showing how communication can exist between groups of people. The Y shape, the Y pattern, communication via this point here. The wheel, communication looks like a wheel. Chain, along the chain, and circular as the name suggests. So these are all communication patterns which you'll need to learn. If we look now at some theories behind training and development, we've got the learning style. Learning style theory by Honey and Mumford. Honey and Mumford identified 4 learning style: activists, reflectors, pragmatists, and theorists. If you look at an activist, they prefer to learn using hands-on active experiences. A reflector likes to have time built in to be able to reflect on things, how they learn it. Pragmatists like practical things that are relevant to what they are doing, and theorists like to understand the theory behind it, the logic behind it. The next theory, Kolb. Kolb's experiential learning theory. His view is that learning is based on experience. So we have an experience. We then observe what happened. We reflect what was good, what was bad, and we form concepts. Once we've got those concepts, we then test the new concepts, and we have an experience, and it goes round in circles. So, using an ACCA exam as an example, you have an experience where you sit the exam. You observe and you reflect that the exam was tough, and then you reflect that actually you didn't do enough studying before the exam. You then form these concepts. You need to practice more questions before the exam. When you resit, you test these new concepts, and you have the experience, and so on. Based on learning, Kolb's experiential learning theory. Okay, training. What's the benefit? What's good about training? Well, 2 areas: benefits for individuals and benefits for organizations. What's good for individuals of training? Well, it can improve their skills, enhance their skills. It can make them more marketable, give them better job prospects. For an organization, they have a more flexible, more motivated, a better productivity, a good image, lots of benefits for both individuals and organizations. Final thing to have a look at is review and appraisal of individual performance. So performance appraisals. Why do we have performance appraisals? Well, organizations have performance appraisals to improve the performance of the organization, but also they improve the performance of the organization by improving the performance of individuals. So they identify individuals' areas for improvement, where training can take place. They identify what's gone well, what's gone bad. They can speak with the individuals to help to motivate them to be able to work harder and in a more flexible manner. Okay, thank you very much for listening to this video.